Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Many people's first reaction when they hear the word weed is a pest rampaging through farmland. But did you know that the concept of weeds is actually a product of human subjectivity? There is no such definition as weed in botany. The book I want to share with you today is called Weeds, in Defense of Nature's Most Unloved Plants. This book will take you deep into the world of weeds and re-examine the relationship between humans and nature. The author, Richard Mabey, is a renowned nature writer. With a light and humorous touch, he presents a vivid history of the changes weeds have gone through. You may feel that weeds are not worth studying, they are everywhere and a nuisance. But as the title suggests, weeds have their own unique stories. When you read this book, you'll find the world of weeds is much more interesting than you imagined. So what exactly are weeds? Let's start with this basic question. The concept of weeds is actually a product of human subjectivity. There is no such concept as weed in the botanical classification system. Weeds exist because humans want to tame and utilize nature. In human eyes, weeds generally have the following definitions. First, plants that appear in the wrong time and place can be called weeds. For example, a plant that should grow in the forest suddenly appears in your garden, so it becomes an invasive weed. Second, plants that cannot be utilized by humans are also considered weeds. For example, in history, some originally edible wild plants were no longer useful as people's tastes changed, so they became useless weeds. Third, the definition of weeds changes with the evolution of society and culture. The same plant may be treated differently in different historical periods. Some plants previously considered weeds may now have become ornamental flowers that humans love to cultivate. Therefore, the concept of weeds is highly subjective. It does not accurately reflect a plant's biological characteristics, but is a crude human definition of nature based on human needs. This also reveals the human attitude towards the natural world. Since weeds are just a subjective concept, why do they spread everywhere and become such a nuisance? This has to do with the propagation pathways of weeds. In fact, human actions have contributed greatly to the widespread dissemination of many problematic weeds. First, in ancient times, weeds began to spread with human migration. Ancient people would inadvertently carry away seeds of wild plants when transporting food, and these seeds thus began their journey. Second, during the colonial era, many invasive foreign species became local weeds as imperialists reached the New World. These foreign species thrived wildly in their new homes as they had no natural predators. Third, in modern times, the development of global trade has also aided the spread of weeds. They can easily leave their homeland and reach all parts of the world by hiding in the crevices of cargo packaging. Fourth, even wars abet the propagation of weeds. Wars destroy buildings and damage ecology, creating excellent growing conditions for weeds. Lastly, there is our human hobby of gardening. Many exotic plants introduced as ornamentals later escaped from gardens and became invasive weeds. Clearly, human actions have played a significant role in boosting the spread of weeds. These seemingly fragile organisms are also leveraging human power to enable their own propagation. Since human behavior affects the fate of weeds, what other connections and correlations exist between humans and weeds? Let's look at the various roles of weeds in the development of human civilization. First, historically, weeds have been widely used by humans as food and medicine. In times of food shortage, edible wild plants became important sources of food. Second, in the early days of farming, the sand-fixing effect of weeds was crucial for agricultural development. Early hydraulic agriculture would have been impossible without weeds stabilizing quicksand. Third, scientists today are also rediscovering the genetic value of weeds. Their rich genetic diversity can be used to cultivate resilient crop varieties. Fourth, in literature and art, weeds often carry a symbolic meaning. They have become sources of inspiration for poets and subject matter for painters. In summary, weeds have intricate connections with human society. They have both facilitated the advancement of civilization and integrated into human culture and psyche. Finally, the author suggests that perhaps we should view weeds from a different perspective. They are not villains of nature, but marginalized members that embody nature's diversity. Our attitude towards them also reflects our attitude towards nature. Humans and nature were meant to coexist harmoniously. Revisiting our definition of weeds and striving to reconcile with nature is the key to achieving sustainable development. That's all for today. If you also want to take a look at this insightful book, I highly recommend you purchase and read it. Thank you for watching and see you next time.